back. Now, Tourism Minister Patricia De Lille seeks to promote South Africa as a prime tourist destination. She signed an agreement with giant tech Google, which will provide safe routes for tourists visiting South Africa. Now, areas considered crime hotspots will be excluded from Google Maps, and this follows the attack of a U.S. tourist who was robbed and shot out in Nyanga. But to tell us more, I'm now joined by Google SA Director, Professor Alistair Mokoena, joins me this morning for this discussion. And thank you so much, Prof, for your time. A very warm good morning to you. Now, I want to talk about this Monday signing of the agreement. Take me through exactly how the conversation started, how it was concluded that perhaps removing those crime hotspots may be the way to equally promote South Africa while keeping local and international safe.
Morning to Melo, thanks for having me, and morning to the viewers. So we're really excited about the Memorandum of Understanding that we signed with Minister De Lille on Monday, which is really a culmination of a partnership that we as Google have enjoyed with the Department of Tourism over some time. So shortly after the minister was appointed, she reached out and said, let's formalize our partnership, the specific areas that I want us to collaborate on. So first of all, it's about skills and knowledge transfer and exchange. We all know that in the 4IR era, we all have to lean into digital technology and just benefit from, you know, what technology has to offer, whether it's in the space of AI, it's about digital marketing skills. And if you consider the fact that a lot of the establishments in the tourism sector are small business, and we as Google have a lot of support that we make available to small business, a lot of training courses, digital skilling. So we're excited about that part. There's also access to data and trends around the world from source markets that South Africa would be interested in. So there's quite a bit of knowledge transfer and exchange that'll be happening there. And Tumelo, just to your question about safety and tourism, well, we understand how important tourism is, particularly post-COVID, where all nation states are thinking about accelerating economic recoveries, livelihoods. In our country, tourism contributes about 3.2% of GDP. It's a big employer. With every tourist that comes in, 8 jobs are created. Now, we've had a couple of unfortunate incidents in the country where tourists have been attacked. And when we say tourists, we're not just focusing on foreigners. It could be anybody. A person from Gauteng visiting Kruger Park or visiting Cape Town is a tourist. So domestic tourism is the biggest contributor. Regional tourism from the continent is also quite significant before we even look at the West. So unfortunately, there's been a couple of incidents around the Cape Town airport area. So the city of Cape Town reached out, the CEO of Cape Town Tourism, the mayor of Cape Town, the MEC, we all had a meeting where we said, as stakeholders in driving economic growth through a sustainable, inclusive tourism industry, what can we do to ensure that we promote tourism, but we also secure lives and livelihoods? And we focus on what have been the latest incidents. Unfortunately, there's a specific intersection around the Nyanga area that if you fly to Cape Town and you don't know where your way around Cape Town and you want to get to the airport, let's say to the City Bowl or Muizenberg or Camps Bay or any other part of Cape Town, you would normally use GPS platforms such as Google Maps to direct you. And what we do with that platform is we find the most direct route, the quickest route, the most fuel efficient, carbon efficient route. And sometimes these routes will have detours from main arterial roads into some neighborhoods and back onto the main road, like the N2 in this instance. So there's a specific portion of the route that passes through Nyanga that's deemed unsafe by the authorities. So we as Google take our lead from the city, from the municipality, from the authorities who said, listen, this is a specific concern for us. We will put signage as a city. We will warn people. There'll be a campaign. We'll work with the car rental companies to also, pass on the message to tourists coming through. So you as Google, are you able to ensure that we don't recommend that particular portion of the route? So it's not about taking a particular township or town or suburb out of Google Maps. No. If you want to go to Nyanga and you put into Google Maps, we will take it to Nyanga. But if you want to go from the airport to a place that's 15, 20, 30K away from the airport, we will make sure that we don't reroute you through this particular hotspot. Yeah.
And I think that clarity is quite important because I can imagine the misunderstanding can come that will Nyanga be completely removed, from Google Maps or Google SA. So that very much clarifies it. But when you talk about crime hotspots. Is Nyanga the only township identified? Are there other areas, just as you exit the Cape Town International Airport, that have also been identified?
Yeah, so I think it's important to clarify that there's many hotspots in the country. I think when the Minister of Police talks about hotspots, the numbers are 58, and it's not just townships, it's not just villages, it's also suburbs, it's also very, very urban areas. So, yeah, I mean, what we do is we take our lead from the authorities. They sit us down and say, listen, we want to, in the medium to long term, look at other parts of the country, we will engage. But for now, the immediate area of concern was this particular portion of Nyanga. And that's not to say that people are not able to access Nyanga. Anybody can drive anywhere. Anybody ignores GPS platforms like ours from time to time. Sometimes you think, no, actually, I don't mind the extra 5 minutes. I'll stay on the road because it feels and looks familiar. So that happens every day. But I think in due course, if the authorities come to us as social partners and say, listen, let's look at other areas of concerns, we will do that. And also, if the city of Cape Town comes back a couple of months down the line and says, listen, the issue that we were avoiding in a specific town or township or suburb has been removed, maybe let's reconsider how do we reconfigure route recommendations. We are open to those conversations.
All right, well, we have to leave it there. I appreciate you speaking to me about this. Professor Alistair Mokoena from Google SA is director, speaking to us about them coming in as more of a tech partner and also, of course, taking more directive from the city officials and government officials, giving them the stats and the directive. However, bulk of the other work is also dependent on other key stakeholders here, such as the city of Cape Town putting up signages. But as he's mentioned, this does not, one, exclude Nyanga from Google Maps at all. It actually just recommends a different route. However, if you do still want to make your way into Nyanga or any other area for that matter, you're still able to do so. But of course, Nyanga will be, understand, the first point that they start with. And I'm sure other areas, as time goes on with this MOU, perhaps they may be included as well inside, of course, this agreement.